Video 2 of 3, 1124. Welcome back. We start with GLD. I'm not a fan of going a stock back into a place where it fell apart. Gold is gold. I'm an investor over the long term. At all-time highs, I'm not inclined. So if you've been eyeing going long gold for such a long time, today would not be the day to add. Anything above 253 on the GLD is a prior fail. Look at it. So it can be a catalyst. So if it makes another high, it would shoot into like 262, 263. If you bought the dip, I would exit almost all of it and leave runners, as they say, or exit everything and then buy the next dip down to 244 if you're an active trader. So here's the question. Will it lose 234 first or make a new high? If it loses 234, you're going to have another unbelievable entry point, low 200s. As an investor, take advantage of that. Put it on your radar. If it takes out to a new high, you're going to have that 260s, mid 260s, maybe even high 260s. So are you a trader? Then you can get on board for a momentum trade. Are you an investor? There might be some better pricing. Yeah. So that is the trade there. Credit put spreads, fine. Debit call spreads, fine. But make sure you're trading or investing and you know the difference. Okay. Right now, there's no obvious entry point. Gold, this is not the gold. I'm going to go with this until you tell me that it's not. I don't know what this is. Everything I said about the GLD, same. It's going into a prior failed. So same comments. That's the same thing, right? Okay. Google, somebody asked for GOG as well, so I decided to do one. My phone answers. I am not talking to you. Stop listening. Okay. Yesterday, I was trying to talk to my phone. It wouldn't wake up. I'm screaming my head off. It's not waking up. And now it hears Google and it wakes up. We can't shut it off. Okay. I'm this close to ditching Google. I honestly am. Like as an ecosystem. All right, so falling into a support zone, not hardcore. The better support zone is around 150. And if it loses 150, it goes to 132, 133. I'm not kidding. That's how it is. Will it do that? Depends on the market. I have a thesis that there should be drama this week in the market. Technically, it should be next week on like December 3rd, but in looking at the options, there might be a blind side. I'll have more on this one by tomorrow. So if the market corrects, have like a 2% dip, this one might start something awful. It's a good company, but it's acting weird. I don't remember anyone telling me why it fell 6% in one day yesterday. And a few days before that, there was a positive headline and it popped, and the negative headline and it dropped, and in the same day. So clearly there's something going on inside of Google. And when it acts that weird, that tells me the cheaters on Wall Street, yes, they are cheaters. They're scum buckets. The cheater on Wall Street will try to take our money by making us, lulling us into a false sense of security, and then they pounce and they take our money. So if you're an investor in Google, there's nothing to do. Just make sure you're not all in case something weird happens. Genuine Parts fell off a cliff, and now to recover that cliff is going to take a lot of work. Okay, we drew it. So I hand drew these necklines in green, and target 1 is almost met. Target 2 is down here. So the problem is now, if they don't recover 135, they're at risk of drifting lower and retesting the lows. And worst case scenario is coming down towards the 106 area. So if I'm an investor and I'm long from up here, I don't add here. If I'm looking to go long, I will take half of a position for the opportunity to add some down here. Grab. Okay, I don't know what that is. This is like Uber. Okay, it's one of those pandemic things. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Again, this is, I don't understand this. Flat P&L goes to the moon, goes to hell, and now it's trying to go to the moon again. So if you're a trader and you know what you're doing, go for it. Lines to look at, 6 and 660. It's the kind of stock I don't dabble with because I literally don't want to play on the same. You know how you go to a playground and you look at people and you go, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with this crowd." Yeah, I'm not comfortable with the grab crowd. GTLB. So I would not short this company. It seems to have a lot of good fans on Wall Street. The easy money has been made. If you're looking to go long now, I'm gonna push back on you. Why not at 42? You had months. If you're looking to short it, okay, I see what you're doing. The resistance zone is from 70 to 75. Let's see what they do with it. Bear call spread, maybe. Earnings in 11 days. Not for me at this point. There's not much I can do with confidence. So this is a stock that was a definite buy to dip. This is the perfect example. No. VJ, come on with that silly headline. That's my point. So VJ is answering my question on Google. That same day, the stock sharply fell on stupid headlines, sharply rallied on stupider headline, and then a couple of days later falls 6%. Nobody talks about it. Okay, so all right, VJ, stop listening to the news to trade. You will not do well. If you listen to Google, to the news to trade Google stock, you're going to lose money. I guarantee it. Or at least they're going to put you in a place so you can lose money. Okay, perfect example, this one. This company, HIMS. All right, so this one makes money off of selling online solutions to, at one point, men, but now men and women. And the stock fell 25% in one day, and I said that's a buy to dip moment because I swear to you that headline was months old, and someone came out and pushed the headline again. How do I know it's months old? I have proof. It's in my email inbox. Amazon. The headline was that Amazon's going to start competing with it. Amazon is already advertising about it. I got advertisement from Amazon months ago competing head-to-head with HIMS. Same wording, only it's Amazon thing. So that headline is old, but somebody pushed it out at the right time in order to make money off of it. So if you bought the dip, congratulations. There's nothing to do right here. It's a good business. Hood, if you're asking me long or short, short. But I wouldn't test it because this is the same idiotic behavior from the pandemic. The traders that are trading Hood now are not the kind of traders I want to play with. If this is a volleyball game, I'm not at the same level. They're much bigger than me, and they don't know as much as me, and they're going to hurt me in the process through just sheer brute force and stupidity. So I don't want to play on that court. So pick your battlefields. This is not one of mine. If you're asking me long or short, as an investment, I would say sell my investment or short it. And when I say short it, I mean like very gently short it by debit put spread or credit call spread. IBM, not a fan. Today I had a conversation about quantum computing. Somebody asked me something about quantum computing. To me, it sounds like a horse-pucky subject so far. Quantum computing is fancy terms as supercomputers. Like this is the same topic I heard about when I was a kid from this company. I think IBM has been in quantum computing forever. And how come they haven't been able to compute themselves a little bit more money? Their P&L is boring AF. Why anybody is invested in IBM, I have no clue. This is the most underwhelming company of all time. And yet, the stock is outperforming NVIDIA. What is going on with the logic in this world? If you ask me what to do with this one, I wouldn't touch it. But if you twist my arm, I would buy a pretty wide debit put spread 3 years. Like I would keep trying from now until it breaks down. At some point, somebody's going to say, you know what? We have overestimated this company. Credit call spread, debit put spread, I'm okay. Going long here, I'm not okay. IFF. What is this? I don't know it. So technically, 97 or higher, super difficult. If you could get to 108, you can get to 125. Until then, I think it's easier to drift towards 82, 80, 75. IONQ. Oh, this is the quantum computing question person. Okay, not for me. Listen, Nobody's selling any quantum computers anytime soon, okay? If they're selling a service off of their machines, that's something different. There's no income and nothing but spending. The chart not going to help you. This is the field I don't want to play in. I don't know anything about this company, so don't worry about the chart. Do your homework on the company and find out when it's going to start to make money as an investor. If you're a trader, whatever, do your thing. This is not for me. JP Morgan, long or short? Short. Period. End of story. I have a bear call spread. I'm losing money. I haven't done anything with it. In fact, on this rally, I doubled down, and at one point I was even. I didn't exit in solidarity. I will decide, and I'll let you know what I'm doing with mine. If you're hating it, close it. I have a credit call spread that's in the money clearly. I don't understand this love for banks. I don't understand how a bank can gap up like this and never come back to reality. Deregulations, folks. Trump was in office for 4 years. He deregulated the hell out of everything. There's nothing that's been rolled back. So what regulation are we talking about that they're going to deregulate to make the banks such a buy? God help the bank's investors if the market has a hiccup for 2 weeks. These bunch have a rising wedge on the chart that suggests pretty significant downside potential. You just need a spark. Now it's not here. KGC, Gold Corporation. Okay, everything I said about the GLD applies here. This stock is recovering with the GLD into a prior fail, not a good starting point. If I got long here, I'm out here. KWEB, everything I said about BABA applies here. We shorted it, it's still not a long. If you're an investor in it and you did not get out here, I have no words. If you're trying to short it, fine. If they lose support here, they might end up at 27. I don't want to mess around with it, but it's definitely not a long for me. China is a mystery. Chinese stocks is you remember when Singles Day made the news on CNBC for days? Singles Day is coming. I wonder how many billion are going to do, BABA. Do they still talk about it? I don't think so. LDOS, what do they do? Services, solutions, and defense. Okay. Pretty bad chart. Anything above 172 looks impossible. What the hell was this all about? The Middle East, the war in the Middle East, or earnings reaction? Looks like earnings. Okay, so I don't understand. This chart is pretty tough to read. I can tell you one thing. Anything above 170 is a fail, starting with this candle. So if you want to put a pretty pivotal area, just put a box around that candle, and you'll be solid. It's going to take a lot to get out of that box. Lilly, all right, Tom. Tom shorted Lilly up there and made a fortune, and now he's retired for the third time. Kidding. It's still a short. It's not a long. Anything above 780 is tough. Anything above 820 is tougher. Anything above 860 is an active reshort. So if I was short and I'm looking to reshort, I could. When I say short this company, credit call spread, it's a pretty big stock for people to just sell a naked call and or hold a put. So combination credit call spread, debit, put, butterfly maybe, least amount of money out of pocket, maximum impact. It might end up at 660, and if it does, 67, anything below 680, exit. You're short. Lemonade, just pile all your money into one area, all in. Wait, you know what? No, I take that back because somebody's posting the transcripts of these videos. So please rewind and make sure to modify my words. We can't get around anymore. Okay, what am I to say? I'm going to say it nicely. It's not an obvious point of entry. Okay, can someone tell me what was the talking point? So the stock goes from 20 to 52 in a week. What's the talking point? Because it sure as schmutz, the P&L doesn't reflect anything. What was the talking point on this one? Oh, okay. You see what I mean? That's what it is. Because you had bigger morons up here buying it at 185 during the pandemic. That's what it was. See, now you can't touch it. You can't. It's a no touch. It's the investor pool. The pool of investors in here are too rough for my liking. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I go back to that basketball game. If you're a casual player, you're pretty good and you win a lot of times, but when the field is full of gigantic people who are risky and sometimes they're awesome, sometimes they suck, you don't want to be involved in that game. I don't. If it's an investment, I can assure you there's nothing in the P&L that says it's worth now 3 times as much as it did 6 days ago. Lockheed Martin, I wouldn't go long here. It might bounce, but they're selling rallies now. Maybe. So 570 is a pretty tough area. I think it comes down below 500 over the next few months. Good company and all. I was just talking about the chart itself. LULU, maybe it drifts lower towards 280. Everything below that, it should be support. For it to get to 380, it would have to push past 340 fast. It'll go to 380. Pretty messy chart. I've traded it for us on large dips, sold a put spread, and it's tough because the quotes are weird. I would buy the dip, but I would not get long here, start along. Mara, I would short it. Yes, I would short it. I would buy a put, diagonal, or a credit call spread. I would not be long Mara. It's flying with Bitcoin, but it's a company, and the P&L down there, I know it's a Bitcoin company. I don't know. Do they mine? Do they accumulate? What are they? At least I know what MSTR does. What are these guys? So do your homework on the company and see how it's going to improve its financial situation. Tradable, yes, on the bear side, down to 20 is doable. 20 is target 1, 16 is target 2. The upside, of course, is open. It will follow Bitcoin. So if a Bitcoin is 150,000 this week, it probably is higher. Mongo, we bought the dip in Mongo. We would not get involved here. From here to 400 is a resistance zone. Nick, it's $70, yes, but if you're trading, you don't have an entry point. If you're a momentum trader, that's a different story. I would not get long here. Looking left, it's a large area of resistance. Doesn't make it a good investment. Start. You may make money. It's just not easy. I would be buying dips into 310 or lower. Meta, bizarre how the market now starts to hate it. Not shortable stock because it's a mystery box. I think eventually it's going to crash because it's a lot of scammy issues there. They're going to get sued by someone with a lot of money and break them. Until then, it's a buy the dip moment. Maybe below 480, I would be interested. So if you want to sell puts to own shares, I'm going to put a box around a candle I like. Maybe it'll serve us as a good, okay, hold on. As a good gauge for like a visual guide as to where buyers and sellers should be fighting over. Okay, so until you see it lose that box, the bulls are in charge. They're buying dips. Merck, if I'm short, I'm out. I know that because the person asking me is short. It did lose this, but I think they need to pop. You can reshort into 110. If I'm short, I'm out. Good support below, and it's a zone. If somebody sold puts to own shares in Merck lower on this dip, you did great. It's probably not too late still. So put it on. If you're an investor in Merck, there's an entry point anywhere below here, but take half the size position. But if I'm short, I'm out. Moderna, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. This company should be zero. Not my opinion. That's the money from their income. So I'm looking at quarterly results, right? So annual results, we had the pandemic. That was a pulling sales forward, no doubt. Quarterly results, the sales 1.8 billion, 2.8 billion, 100 million, 200 million, back to 1.8 billion. So if you know the company and you know they're going to have sales normalize over time, it's a great time to get involved with half your position. So if I meant to put $5,000 in Moderna, part of a giant portfolio, and I took $1,500 now or $2,000 or $3,000 now, half my position, give or take, not a bad deal. If I sold puts to own shares, not a bad deal. I just don't know anything about the company. I know they're working on some cancer-solving solutions, but as a vaccine company, I mean, how you can't make money off of sporadic income like this. 1 billion, 2 billion, nothing, 1 billion. How can you invest in a company? How do you value it? So you have to ascertain how much potential in the future. So if it solves something that is cancer related, of course, this should rally. They are selling rallies, and it has rallied hard from low situations before. Like if you bought it here, you made a ton of money. And if you're buying here, you might go up to 80 again. I see the enticement. So it's worth a gamble. And it is a risky stock. Morgan Stanley, if you're asking me long or short, definitely not long. Again, gapping up and going. I have never seen this happen. So on the election day, you saw something happen that I said I've never seen happen before. The small caps, the IWM, the RUT, and the XLF gapped up and went beyond anything I've ever seen before. I have never seen the bank stocks all go 10% up, none of them reporting earnings. They all went 10%, some a little bit less, some a lot more. I have never seen that, and I've been trading for decades. I don't remember any one day where that has happened. And you mean to tell me they're not going to come back and fill that gap, which is the white line on Morgan Stanley, for example? So you tell me. If this is a base for a huge upside from here, then go long. If not, it's a better short than a long. The IWM that day was up 6.4% on the open. That's extraordinary. Microsoft, great company. It is acting the most reasonable out of the whole market. So I think the market should be looking and taking direction from the leader. This is the largest company on the planet every other day, and it is the most consistent P&L on the planet. This is amazing, the P&L, and it's been doing it forever. That's why if you tell me I invest in NVIDIA or this one, I would invest in this one because it's more forecastable. NVIDIA is more impressive. This is more consistent at the same impressive level for decades. So I would invest in this one before NVIDIA. It is more stable. I would also tell you that if the markets hiccup, you will get an entry point in Microsoft below 350. So here's the statement. Awesome company to own as an investment as long as you have room to add more at a much, much lower price. So if I'm long already, I'm not adding because rising wedges break technically. And headlines usually come out to meet the technicals. Because it's a rigged game, somehow it happens all the time. There is a scenario where the markets correct hard. I don't know when, but if I'm looking to own $10,000 worth of Microsoft, I would only engage half now and leave room to add another half much, 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 much lower. Not a bearish statement. This is acting most reasonable. So until then, I can trade the range, I think. Credit put spread, credit call spread. And if you're active, you buy a call, you buy a put. When you fall into a support zone, you get long. And when you go into a resistance zone, you get short. So you balance out your book. Tradable, yes. Investable, yes, but not all in. MSTR, I shorted it for Deb. During one of the live sessions, we decided to sell a call spread, and then it did this. And that one day when I went out and said, "What are you guys doing?" This is the most expensive stock on the planet. The guy is brilliant. But you know what they chased? They chased the same headline. People chased Warren Buffett into Oxy. Remember Occidental? Warren Buffett, genius investor. One of his less genius moments is to pile into Oxy into this state. Well, he's not a trader, so he wanted the financials of Oxy on his P&L. But people reading those headlines, oh, he's adding. And the hodlers, like the people that follow Kitty Cat guy, like, he's adding, we're going to add. He's not trading. Kitty Cat was. Buffett wasn't trading. He wanted to own the financials inside his P&L, right? So that's completely different. So here, Michael Saylor decided to invest billions of dollars at all-time high prices. So the inference is that, oh my gosh, he's going to double his money. Well, how about you go ask him, what are you doing, man? So have you ever heard anything that he's said? He's a pretty smart guy. He knows business, and he seems to know Bitcoin inside and out. And people blindly chased him, like they blindly chased Buffett. And if they did, that day, we knew there was going to be problems. And I exited my short on that day. I didn't make the most amount of money I could have. In fact, I exited for a slight green. If I had waited, I would have made a lot more. But I was so disgusted with the price action that I said, thank you, I'm out. I'm not dealing with this junk. If you're investing in MicroStrategy, please do your homework. Valuation is in the stratosphere. It's above and beyond Bitcoin, folds over. So if you think Bitcoin is expensive, the value of Bitcoin inside this company is folds over more expensive. So if you want to buy Bitcoin, invest in Bitcoin. Here's another way I can say it. Whatever happens to Bitcoin from here happens to the stock on the downside. Let's say Bitcoin in the next 6 months gets cut in half, and that happens often. This stock will be more than cut in half. That's my take. If you're an investor in MSTR and you didn't lock any profits up here, I have no words. You're not an investor. You're a momentum trader. You should admit it. I don't know what people are doing. I sure hope you're safe. Micron. I said these words about Micron. Everything I said here, I said about Micron here, up at the top, and instead of Bitcoin prices, I said NVIDIA. So, and that was correct thing to say. And I mean at the top. Rewind the videos. You will hear me say it. Now it's more reasonable trading thing. Okay, so let's look at Micron. Good company, yes. Unpredictable earnings, yes. Not my words. Look at the P&L. Pretty crazy. Annually, quarterly, now it's normalized. So maybe management got their act together. Maybe the supply chain disruption from the pandemic is wearing off, and now we can go forecast it. For that reason, anything below 95 seems reasonable as a starting point, with the caveat that it might be below 70 in the next 6 to 8 months. That's not my forecast, but they are starting to sell rallies. And let's say the market hiccups in the next 6 months. You don't think we're going to hiccup? This might find itself below 70. So if I'm an investor, I wouldn't add here. If I'm an investor starting, I would start here, but I would leave room to double the position. The best way to go long a stock like this, for me, my personal preference, I would sell puts and buy a call spread, or just sell puts to own shares every week until I'm assigned half my position. Okay. Reasonable comments, right? Everything I said about airlines applies here. I don't get it. Technically, this is a target. It's an exit. Buy the dip towards 23 or lower. NEP, NextEra Energy. Is this another? Why is this down here? Oh, clean energy. Yeah. This stock, when I see a chart like this, there's no amount of money in the world that I would be enticed to invest in it. It's an all-time low. The market's at an all-time high. Clean energy concept is an all-time high. The concept, oh yeah, we want clean energy. Everybody. Is there anybody on the planet that does not want a clean energy? So, and this one is going to zero in the stock. So do your homework, find out. The chart's not going to help you, is what I'm saying. If you're long, you're long. If you're looking to go long, take half of a position, add the other half under 10 if it goes there, and forget about it. That's investing in the future. But do your homework first. The chart not going to help you. Who is this? Cloudflare. Okay. Buy. No. If you're buying it here, I'm asking you, why didn't you buy it here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here, 3 days before here? Why now? What did you see now that says, yeah, this is the time to go long? In fact, this is the time to go out. This is where it fell apart nastily, once, twice. Not for me. These investors are not sophisticated. I don't want any piece of them. I would sell a call spread here. If you twist my arm, I would sell a call spread and then sell a put spread when it drops. I think support zone is now starting at 89 or lower. I think the death zone is 115, which would turn into a huge catalyst to take you to 165. If you're a momentum trader, that's fine with me. If you're a trader for a swing trade, buy the next dip. Don't buy it into a prior fail. Netflix, I wouldn't short it. It has a good P&L. I wouldn't go long it here. You missed the easy entry point. This stock has shown the world that they can do this and survive the disaster. It's up 500% almost. They survived the disaster, stupid ass sports show that they had with the two fighters. That was a rigged fight, in case you didn't know. I know boxing, and that was definitely rigged. Both of them could have knocked each other out, and they didn't. They had a contract. So where would I go long? 600 or lower. What? Yep. So if that's the case, if you twist my arm, I would sell a put there to own shares, but not for me. This stock, the expectations are, I don't know where. The price action does not match the P&L. So I think the investors have built up expectations in their head, and at some point, I don't know when, they're going to get disappointed. Unless there's something coming. Is there an off-balance sheet? That was a term they used on Netflix when they were shorting it on the way up. Oh, they have $50 billion of contracts off-balance sheet that are not in their liabilities on the financials, like verbal deals. Oh, you gotta do this kind of movie and this kind of movie. I don't know what's going on. To me, it's not a starting point. NEO, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I say this comment because EVs are not the answer. They have their world. They will be there, but they're not going to replace internal combustion engine. That is a physical fact that I told you 10 years ago when people started looking into EVs and everybody chased it. NEO would not be my anointed one. They have a weird model. I don't know if they still do. Swappable batteries. When you buy their cars, they're cheaper because there's no battery in it. But what you do is you go to fill up, they'll give you a new battery, and you leave. Easier, faster transition. I don't know if that's still the case. Technically, anything below 4 is a good starting point, twice already. If you lose 3.6, I think it goes to 2. And you buy the dip inside the ascending channel, yes. Investment all in, no. You can start, and you can add somewhere around 1050. So I don't know what they do, in fact. But it does come up often in our group. Engaged provision, digital banking. Okay, so here's a question. Banking is an extremely all-time high right now. Digital banking even better. Why is this one lagging? You know, if it falls below 11, I will sell puts to own shares and take a flyer on it. And it falls to 950, most definitely again. So you do have panic buyers below. You can get started, leave room to add. And you, not to be confused, this is a new core. The buy the dip should work, but also 164 should be incredibly difficult. If they take out 172, they may end up at 188. So if you bought the dip with shares or calls, longer dated calls, I see what you're doing. Just make sure you keep track of support holding 140. And then most importantly, 133. If you lose 133, I don't know how low it goes. 108. NVDA. Company sucks. The P&L is terrible. It doesn't grow at all. No, everything I said is the exact opposite. Again, shoot, they're going to have to put transcriptions. Okay. Fantastic company. What else can I say? They grew 100% almost, their sales. Look at, there is no better P&L ever in history of time on a mega cap this big. This is a one and done. There will not be another company like this one ever again in my lifetime that shows growth like this, where the bottom line now is folds over the sales not a little bit more than a year ago. That doesn't happen at that level size. This is now a top 3 company on the planet, more than $3 trillion. That is freaking almost 4. Unfreaking believable. What else? I don't know what to say. Technically, this is going to 132 and 122. If you don't make a high soon, you're going to 132 or 122. Do with that information as you please. OKTA. Good buy the dip moment. Good chop. Good hold. It should be at 86. Why isn't it there? Resistance at 81 as well. Let's go to NVIDIA with my lines, by the way. I believe we forecasted it dip perfectly with this arrow, these 2 orange lines and the arrow. And so By the way, you can also say earns, that's the earnings flash top, and look at how many support zones. I didn't say that earlier. I should have. Okay. OKTA, it's inside of a very big supportive zone. You think you can take 81 out? I don't think so. But let's just say you can. Check this out. Whoops. Check this out. This is an old line with an old comment from 2023. Look how well it worked here. So you have buyers below 72, sellers at 80.5. Oracle, it's a short. It's not a long, let's put it this way. Look at the P&L. Where is the exuberance? Look at how this trading versus NVIDIA, and look at the P&L, not even close to NVIDIA. You see how I have issues with this? That is bizarre. It's shortable. If you twist my arm, I would hold a put in Oracle. Do we have a put in Oracle? Every session is recorded on Sunday. This is a short. If I'm not short, I want to short it. I must be short. Anyway, yeah, definitely not a long here. Palo Alto Networks, not a good starting point. Good P&L. Someone explained to me this one. Net income 1.7, total sales 1.9. Other than that, it's a buy to dip moment for me. If it falls into 340 or lower, makes a bargain. Up here, not a bargain. Pinduoduo, wouldn't touch it. Chinese company, great P&L, price action garbage. So I'm going to tell you this. Don't be surprised to see this company under $60 in the next 6 to 8 months. If you love it here, you're going to love it under 60. Don't short it, but if it loses, this is a buy to dip moment into a prior support. You lose this support, you're going under 60. How about I do it this way? So not to say, oh, panic out. Must hold. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. And then I'll show you the downside potential of that. This is the first level of downside potential, and I won't show you the rest. Okay, this is the moderate downside target. The fact is that may have topped. Tough resistance. Okay. There you go. Well, with that, stopping for video 3.